Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the monthly OTS GCMIO training session, Train the Trainer. For this session, Essentris session, we are going to talk about Essentris provider orders. And we're going to talk about Essentris provider orders. Purpose: to provide a brief overview of Essentris provider order entry and the three types of orders. Upon completion of this lesson, the student will be able to discuss the patient control module, access the order entry module, enter single orders through order entry, identify the three types of orders, open a standard order, edit a standard order, save a standard order, enter a conditional order in the order entry module, discuss the provider workflow process. Once we log into Essentris, this is what we call our patient control module. We're going to do a brief overview over it, and that comes with the next slide. The first bar that you see says patient control, says Essentris Clinicom, is the title bar. The next bar after that, with all the little tabs in it, is called the menu bar. Anything that is required to document or maneuver through the application, you can do this on the menu bar. Or you can go over here at the admin pane and do the same thing. The third bar is called it's called the patient header bar. You notice it has my unit, train, last name, first name, and pertinent patient data. The fourth bar we're going to talk about is the standard toolbar. It has the little lock, the number 1, left, right, refresh, house, my patient, so forth, so on. We will discuss this in depth later. And this is called a standard toolbar. The admin pane, this is the first pane we have right here, or the first column. The same thing you can do in the menu bar is the same thing you can do in the admin pane, just another way of accessing the modules within the application. The next column we're going to talk about is the unit pane, or the patient control column. And this is where we can select our environments and or wards. And right now, as you can see, train is highlighted because that's what I've selected. And the next column is called the patient pane column. Bed number, name, who is on the beds, ranks, social, so forth and so on. And this is what we call a 3 view. If you look at the number 1 button, that would be, if we had number 1, then you would see nothing but this patient pane. And then you would see a number 3. But since we clicked on 3 to go to 3 view, which means these 3 views right here, you only see 1. Last but not least, on the bottom is the status bar, who's logged in, what's their computer number, date and time. We're going to talk about the icons within the patient control module. The first one is what we call the lock screen icon, or a little golden lock. What that means is that you're doing a documentation in the EMR, the Essentris EMR, and one of your associates say, hey, can I talk to you for a minute? You click on the lock and it locks out that screen. And only you can unlock it and go back within your session. As I previously said about the 1 pane, 3 pane, depends on your different views, how you toggle between views. Previous screen and next screen, left directional, right directional. Self-explanatory, it just goes either left screen, previous screen, back to where you were at, right screen, going to your next module. Refresh patient control. Now this is a great little button due to the fact that if you are working in, say, like flow sheets, you're documenting some flow sheet and somebody else is in treatment or the med section and they're finished and they logged off, you can actually click the 2 directional button, rotating directional button, and it will refresh what they documented in the system can now come onto your machine. You can view what they documented. The next thing we're going to talk about is the patient control house, or the greenhouse. Say like you went to I&O flow sheet, you went to meds, you went to treatments, you went to order entry, you went to several other modules. Like, man, I do not feel like I have to go previous. Just click on the greenhouse, the patient control, and it directs you back to the patient control module. The My Patients. My Patients is exactly that. You can actually select, say you are in an intermediate ward, you have 32 patients, they assigned you 5. And instead of going back to the patient pain module and keep selecting each and every time, you can actually right-click, add to My Patient list, and every time you log in, those patients you will see instead of the whole ward list. The multi-patient task list and single patient task list, the clipboards with a check mark. And that's what it does. It displays tasks due or overdue for all patients within your patient list. The one with the 2 check marks is more than 1 patient. The one with the 1 check mark is 1 patient task list only. The recent patient view. If you went to Mr. Joan Ramirez, Mr. Lin, Mr. Johnson, Mr. Robinson, Mr. Erickson, and you can actually click on the drop down, go directly back and click on Robinson, and it will take you there instead of going back to the patient pain view. Views, there again, is just like previous screen. Instead of going back from page to page to page, you can actually hit the drop down and select the recent view that where you were at. Shift process, okay? We will discuss that when I get to the module, to the actual, when I get to the actual application, I will demonstrate that. The processing step, I will demonstrate that. Okay, the A, B, C, D, E, and F, I believe, buttons are shortcut or quick link icons, and I will demonstrate that in the application. The CAL is basically a link to other applications like CHCS or Alta. But if this CAL, the guy, the human with the link onto him, is grayed out, that means that is activated. The button with a question mark. This is the help button. Everything we cover in this training session you can be found in the online documentation. The 31 and the 3, or the letter with the 2 people on it. One has 31, which is 31 notifications for all your patients, would mean multiple patients. Or 3 with a single person in it means 3 notifications for 1 patient. That's all that means. Okay, any questions on the patient tracking module and the overview on the icons? All right, we're going to go directly into order entry right now. And there are 3 ways to do it. The first, red directional under orders in the menu tab. The second red line is under admin pane, orders, order entry. And the third is the B button, or the B green M&M. That will take you to order entry. Okay, I click on it and it brings me to the order entry module. I have some orders here. Now we're going to discuss the order entry icons. First icon to talk about is the store icon, the little diskette. Any and all changes done in the EMR, they must be stored, or otherwise you will lose those changes. That means any documentation in the nurse's notes, any documentation in the flow sheets, any new orders, if you don't store them, they won't be saved. New order is the next one, is a white piece of paper, blue background. Edit order, edit an existing order, and that means unlocked order. Locked means that once it's been acknowledged and saved or stored, that's a locked order. So once it's locked, the only way to change it is to DC it and start all over again. Copy an order from an existing one, and you can edit it. Rewrite an order, and that means click to the DC existing order and open it, and you can rewrite it, and basically it's like a brand new order again. Renew an order, change an order with an expiration date and renew it. Annotation, make a note. Icon with the 2 pills is what we'll call our standard order. Sometimes it's called an order set. The icon with the eyes describe an order. What is my order information? The pill with the under bracket is called acknowledge order, and remember this, it is a nurse function only. Sign order is a provider function only. Review an order, there again is a provider function to record reviewer's initials in the column. In other words, he said, did you order the right medications? He did, he can initial off on it. Verify an order is a pharmacy function to verify medication order. Cosign, the 2 pins, is basically if you have a nurse practitioner and a PA working for a provider, any and all orders that those PAs or nurse practitioner put into the system, a set gets sent off to the provider so they can co-sign it. DC time, pick a discontinue time, which is the icon with the X in it. Remove an order, double icon with a trash. Auto DC an order, configure for all discontinue selected group of orders. DC sign, sign off on a discontinued order. DC verify, verify a pending discontinued order. DC cosign, click to cosign a pending discontinued order. And create view, you can customize your display of orders on the screen. Any questions on what's on an order? On the order entry icons. Alright, a single order. An individual order is not part of a set or protocol. An order details enter the order in editor box. And these are examples of single orders. Medications, IV drugs, radiology, lab tests, respiratory treatment, consults, dietary, and nursing initiated orders. These we'll call single orders. I'm back in my order entry module. And the first thing I'm going to do is click on my piece of white sheet, hit new order button. And my new order module shows up. And you notice on top we have 2 tabs, search and browse. Well, at this time I'm going to do the search. All I did was type in NAPR for naproxen, and it gave me suggested responses up here. So I clicked and highlighted on naproxen 250 milligram, and I'm going to click OK. Once I click OK, my order editor box comes up, and I will fill out pertinent information: order time, start time, and if need be a stop time. I'm just going to leave that alone. Put in my medication, what's my dose, frequency, QID, Q4, whatever. I select the QID. Route, PO, routine, okay, me, and I selected as a telephone verbal and readback confirmed, and I also made a comment. Now once I click OK, it brings back to my order entry module. And you notice it's highlighted in lavender because it's unsigned. If you look up here in the upper right hand corner, lavender is unsigned, yellow DC, turquoise pending. If you look at naproxen 250 milligram, PO, QID, verbal order, it was a verbal order. Readback, yes, date and time, and you notice as soon as I sign it, that will be acknowledged. Okay, at this time I am going to demonstrate. This is my Clinicom, and it's asking me at this time to log back in. Okay, this is my patient control module. And you notice under my name here, these are my patients. I'm going to select a patient, and I'm showing you, as I said before, you can select patients. Going to train. And I'm going to select test waves by clicking on them, right click, add to, in the box, to me. And at this time the system asks me, please verify by putting in my username and password. And now test waves is my patient. It is that easy. If I wanted to remove a patient, like Train Betty, click on her, right click, remove from my list, we call those patients, verify with my username and password, okay. And my patient is now removed. Is that easy to add to my patient list? Okay, I want to click once, twice on test waves. And you notice in the patient header bar, all the information is there. Next, I'm going to go to orders entry. Click on them. And you notice under train waves test, train 1, there are no orders found. So I'm going to go ahead and make a new order. Go to my new order button, click on it. And my new order module should show. There it is. There's two buttons up here, as I said before, search and browse. Under browse, you know these are all the categories: activity, ADT, bedside, blood products, colloids, consoles, so forth and so on. But I'm going to go to medications. I click on medications. There are more subcategories under medications. And on the right hand side under order name, it comes up all in alphabetical order. That is one way to do a new order in the new order module. I'm going to show you a quick, easy way. Click on search. Go to, let's say I want a Motrin. M-O-T-R. Well, it doesn't come up with Motrin, so I have to think generic name, ibuprofen, I-B-U. And you know, just by typing IBU on the bottom in my search box, it gives me several categories to look at. And I'm going to select ibuprofen by clicking on it, ibuprofen 400 milligram, highlight it, bottom right hand corner, click OK. Now you notice my order editor box comes up. Let's talk about the icons on top. First icon is assign order, which all it means is this: that if I click on that, it'll put the order in my acknowledged needed or pending order, and then I can order more, do some more orders. If not, I'll go to my second icon, the door with a check mark. Click done. It will close the box out, and I'll go back to my order editor module, and I will acknowledge and put into active status. Cancel edit, clear time, dose calculate, and back to category selection. So at this time I'm going to say frequency. I'm going to say QID. R for routine. I'm going to leave it at that. I am my provider. Go up here upper left hand corner. And click done. And you notice that at this time my order is in lavender, and which means it's unsigned. Now if I go to the bottom, acknowledge needed, I'm going to click highlight, and I'm going to go up here. See where it says the acknowledge order is? I'll click on acknowledge order. It's acknowledged. Once I save it or store, put my username and password to verify. Click OK. And it gives me my order decision support box. No duplicates are found. Is there any allergies for this patient? So forth and so on. Click OK. And you notice once I acknowledge my order, Under Acknowledge Needed tab, no orders found. But where did it go? Click on my Active tab. Now this is a locked and active order. The only way to take this order out is to DC it and then start all over again. Any questions on how to do a single med order? Okay, let's talk about the order entry module and the tabs. I already talked about the active tab. The active tab is where all orders have been acknowledged and or signed. Now the provider can do the orders. There's no big deal about that. But the orders will be pending until the nurse acknowledges. And once she or he acknowledges those orders, then they go from the Acknowledge tab to the Active tab. Acknowledge Required tab. It's a good business process to that when you are assigned all your patients, go to the Order Entry module and go to the Active tab and find out what's required. Or you can go to the task list and find out what tasks are required for the patient. Sign Required, that is a provider-only tab or privilege. And this is where it shows up where he or she has to sign orders. Verify, there again, that is a tab for a supervisor. Review tab. The Review tab is for the senior supervisor to review, kind of like QC stuff, for all the orders and acknowledge them. Cosign. There again, if you have a PA and a PA or a nurse practitioner working under a senior provider, any orders that they do will be sent to the senior provider, to their login, username, and then they can sign off on them. Expiration Medication tab, exactly what it means. And Conditional Medication tab. Conditional orders, we'll talk about them here in a few. All right, we're going to do it. There's my medication after it was put in. And here's my new medication in the MAR. And you notice it has naproxen 250 milligram, QID. This is a new row, start a new row, that's what this gray out means. My beginning bracket. And then because I said QID at that time, the system automatically gave me my QID schedule. And until I either DC the order or discharge the patient, the system will give me QID every day. Now, does that mean because I set the wrong time when I ordered my order, it can't be changed? No, by going to right-click in the box right over here, in any little box in this row, and in that box that opens up, it'll say Reset Schedule, and you can. Or you can come up here on one of these two icons and select it as Reset Schedule. Okay, any questions on med orders? All right, this time I'm going to demonstrate, not demonstrate, but we're going through some slides for radiology. New order, click on the New Order button. Go to my new order. I'm going to click on Radiology and Browse. And you notice I clicked on ankle stress. Real easy. Or I can, once I select it, put in all my pertinent information. Click Done. And there's my ankle stress. It's that easy. Okay, we're back here to my patient. I'm going to click New Order. Click on my Browse button in my New Order box. Open Expand Diagnostic Procedures. You notice I have several. I'm going to click on Radiology. If I wanted to, by clicking on Order Name, you notice ankle stress. I can click OK to select it. Or another way, click on my search tab, type ankle, and you notice it gives me several options for the word ankle. I click on ankle stress, click OK. I'm going to type Q day, 1 day, leave me as the provider, comment, right ankle. Now I'm going to make this a telephonic verbal order. My provider said through telephone or verbal, I need an x-ray. Click on it. And you notice that the readback confirmed came up. If I do not check this box, watch what happens. I'm going to go to my done icon. And the order editor says, oh, by the way, readback confirmed field is required. Will not let you come out of this module until you do a readback confirmed. I'm going to click OK. Check mark the readback confirmed. Now I can go back to done. And there is my ankle stress order. Let me demonstrate one more time. I'm going to go to acknowledge needed. You notice when I switch from active to acknowledge needed, the only one that shows up is ankle stress because I haven't acknowledged it yet. Any questions on a radiology order? Laboratory orders. Lab orders are the same as med and radiology. Same process. The only thing it changes is the specific order that you're looking for. Click on New Order. The New Order button comes up. I'm going to put a test on the bottom. But this time I went through Browse, and I went to Labs, and I select. And I also went through search and put CBC and then clicked on CBC with diff. I'm going to click on OK. Gives me my order to editor box. You notice here in this order too, I put readback confirmed. And once I saved it, there it is right there, and it's still a pending order. Now on the previous naproxen was also a readback confirmed. If you notice naproxen down here, verbal order, yes, readback, yes, date and time. All right, this time I want to demonstrate a lab. Go back to my active tab, go new sheet, and I'm going to say real simple. I'm going to put a CBC. Click on CBC, click OK. My order editor module appears, and I want to say times 1, because all I want is 1 time, and go to my done button, and there it is. Any questions on single orders, lab, rad, or med? Real simple. Now, you notice that when I went to my treatment sheet for this patient, trained Kathy, that the ankle stress and the CBC are there, and they're grayed out until here. This is where what we call a start row bracket, right bracket. And until we do that test, because it's Q day and QD, until we verify that it's done, then once you put your initials here, this will DC automatically. Okay? And those are your single orders, med, lab, and rad. All right, this time we're going to talk about standard order. A standard order is a collection of orders that are commonly ordered together as part of a treatment or protocol, sometimes called an order set. Here are examples of an order set of standard orders. NIO, Nurse Initiated Orders, ICU, Intensive Care Orders, Labor and Delivery Orders, and Admin Orders. In the order entry module, the button with the two pills is called the Standard Order button. We click on it, and the Standard Order module shows up. And you notice on the left-hand side we have our category, and the right-hand side we have an MD. You can actually order a standard order under a provider's name without having to go directly to the order entry module and select it, order editor. Okay. Once I clicked a order set or a standard order, and these are all the orders. Now, to select these, if you want to select all, click on the first order, hold your shift key, go all the way to the bottom, scroll to the bottom, click on the last order, and you will select all of them. Highlight them, and then you will assign them. Or you can hit your control key and select those single orders within that order set to be assigned and or selected. Okay, back to my Essentris. Am I going to go standard order, new order? No, I'm going to go directly to standard order. Click on my standard order button. And you notice here's my category, my MD name. But since I'm the only one here, then I will be selected. I am going to go to click on NIO, new admission orders. Go to the bottom right hand corner, click OK. This is my new admission order set or standard orders. I can either go shift, click on the first one, go to the last one, or hit my control key and select individuals. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to select individuals. Go to my assign order, my check button. And you notice once I hit my check button, it grays out. And the orders I selected disappeared. Well, they're not exactly disappeared. They just disappeared from this order. Oh, one more thing. The standard order button, when you select a standard order, will tell you what's the name of the standard order. I'm going to go to my done button. And there they are. That is how you do a select, open, select, edit, standard orders. Any questions on standard orders? Last order we're going to talk about is a conditional order. What is a conditional order? It's an order that is not activated until a specified condition is met. With the Essentris I'm working at, my system, there are only 3 types of conditional orders: upon admission, after surgery, upon transfer. Now, be remember, a conditional order is entered, it must be manually acknowledged once the conditions are met. And a conditional order is activated when a nurse acknowledges the order. Okay? Now, conditional orders cannot be rewrote. You actually have to go in there and DC the order and then start all over again. Okay, I went to new order. I'm an order editor. I selected the conditional box, check mark, and I put my drop down and select admitted to. When the patient is admitted, do this procedure. Priority, and I saved it. And you notice ibuprofen 400 milligram conditional, because it doesn't say start time, it just says conditional under that condition. I will demonstrate. New order. Okay. And I'm going to say vital signs, which I'll go to browse. Click on vital signs, go to right hand corner, click OK. and my order editor comes in. I'll just want SQD. Now I'm going to come over here. Let me select my provider, correct? Me. Over here on the right hand side, click on Conditional, hit my drop down, Admit to. My conditional situation is Admit to when the patient is admitted. Vital signs. Done. And you notice, let me scroll down. Here's one pending order, my conditional order. Last name, vital signs, conditional, right there, and here's the provider. Now, watch what happens when I move from this module, the order entry module, back to patient control. I go to my greenhouse, patient control, click on it. And it tells me, order entry, you have unsaved changes in order entry. Do you wish to save those changes? I'm going to cancel. Reason I canceled is because I'm going to this time manually acknowledge everything. Click on the first one, scroll over to the bottom, click on the last one. I highlighted everything. So go up here and make sure I'm making sure that I acknowledge these orders. I click on it. They're acknowledged. And then before I leave, store. Put in my password, click OK. And you notice my order decision support comes up. I'm going to click OK. And now, if I go back to my acknowledge needed, I still have one to acknowledge. It didn't work. Click on it, acknowledge it, store it. Okay. Click OK, bottom right hand corner. And you notice under acknowledge needed, once I acknowledge the last one, no orders found. So they went from a pending status to an active status. These are now stored and locked. The only way to change these right now is to DC them. Okay. Any questions on the orders we just talked about? Single, standard, and conditional. Those are your three types of orders. All right, this time we're going to do provider workflow. Now, provider workflow varies from MTF to section, and we're just going to do a basic workflow. When the patient evaluates, when the provider evaluates the patient and determines the patient needs to be admitted, at that time, he will do the admit ward orders and documents notes in the patient's EMR. Patient is admitted to the MTF and he's sent to assigned ward. Once the patient is received by the ward staff, they complete their initial nurse assessment and signs off on provider orders as completed. Provider follows up the progress notes and signs off on all orders. Now, there again, depending on the protocol, SOP, ward policy, sometimes the nurse will do all the, like a standard order set, admit ward orders, and when the provider comes, when the patient comes up, select all or select, and then once the provider comes up to do a follow-up on the patient, to document in the progress notes, and he or she will sign off on those orders. Okay, during this session, we talked about patient control module and all the icons. We talked about order entry and all the icons. We completed 3 orders, mid, lab, and rad, single. We identified the 3 types of orders. We opened, we edited, and saved standard orders, entered a conditional order in the order entry module, and we talked about the discussed the provider workflow process. I have a check on learning. Mr. Question Mark asks, what are the 3 types of orders? Simple, single, standard, and conditional. How to contact STS, OTSG, CMIO, STS at amed.army.mil. And also the ACE site, mitc amed.army.mil, site CIO resources ACE. I'll show you in the next slide. And this is our ACE site. Great resource webpage, and you can research most of the military health applications resources here. Great research. Next session will be discharge summary, September 20th. Any questions? All right, y'all have a nice day.